Hello, hello, hello. This is Mohammed Shilon coming to Una from the United States and from the great state of North Carolina. And I have a co-host by the name of Victor Aku Mengot, who comes to you from London or from England. I don't want to mistake the city. And so we get, as usual, for 1 hour to listen to a show. Today is Sunday, June 25th. We try for touch on, as soon as I may know, most of Una, not everybody. I talked to a few people yesterday. We don't even know, say, Sierra Leoneans, we don't even know, say, Sierra Leone get election yesterday. They are so detached, they are not even worried. They've given up that much on the country. Okay, so, but we get for touch on the election results and the process and the problem with the system and how to improve the system if we're serious or if it's just going to be this tit for tat, country last or country be damned. Country be damned. Okay, so what's going to happen? Each party will come and say, country be damned. Now, what you do good for we party, even if it is destructive to the interests of the country, and we're going to implement. And then you can hear idiotic, and I've used the adjective idiotic statement like, now we own turn now. We get to move from that mentality there. Who is we? We should be all of us. The fact that we can displace one party from power and put another one, we all for rejoice for that aspect of achievement, and we own democracy. But you get well-educated people there who see Sierra Leone. They cannot see Sierra Leone above and beyond two things: tribal lines, and political party affiliation. Sierra Leone to them comes first. A lot of them, I'm thinking, in quiet moments where you ask them, say, whose nationality are you? Oh, me na APC. Whose nationality are you? Oh, me na SFPP. Now later on, they go say, oh, not that they ask me. They ask me, say, whose nationality? I for say me na Sierra Leonean. But it would also use for put party interest, whether destroy we for 60-some years. We still know the land. And there is a thing called, President Obama once upon a time, and commonly I don't hear other people and say, the real definition of insanity. Now, where you keep doing the same thing over and over, but expecting a different result. So now what the country is engaging is extreme real insanity, not even close to reasonableness. Okay? So, of course, as usual, we can always try, I can make Mr. Mengo doing your introduction. So let me just point out a few things, the phone numbers them, who normally can deal with. And we want people then to understand, say, as the show continues, the lines will be open instantly. So if in the process you get any question, please call. Don't wait until the end, because sometimes it can be hard to forget all the thing in there. We go arrange how to check the thing. Except that we always tell callers, please don't be overextended in the 3 minutes what they allot you, because for consideration of others. So when you put all your thoughts together before you call, and when you call, put your presentation in a concise manner so you can get all your points together. We're not taking any pleasure in cutting people off. We like for everybody and some people are slow talkers, but we get a solution for that. And the solution is if you're there in the middle of the thing, the buzzer goes on. What we always get after 3 minutes, the buzzer will go on for say, it's time for you to be cut off. Just call back if you get the time and hold the line or stay on the line. We will get back to you. Now, in the phone numbers they will normally can let people be aware of, we'll start with the toll-free number, which is 866-944-7722. 866-944-7722. The UK number is plus the plus sign, 44 20 80 89 14 55 plus 44 20 80 89 14 55. If you're calling from Australia, it will be plus 61 29 09 89 337. Again, plus 61 29 09 89. Sorry, plus 61 29 09 84, not 89. 84 337. All right. And then WhatsApp is 1 343 997 5828. 1 343 997 5828. Please call, make whatever contribution you have in mind. We'll talk mostly about the elections of yesterday, and the basic rule applies: mutual respect for fellow callers, for the host, and all will be okay. Let me turn it over to my co-host, Mr. Victor Aku Mangot.
Well, Fambulem, in a good evening, good day, or good afternoon, wherever you are. Me and the co-host with me, big brother, and he don't talk about Raleigh, North Carolina. He always praise. But in England, we not get states them. Me, they broadcast from Surrey County, which is just outside London, where they call the stockbrokers belt. So them people, they look after money, and they didn't tap. But that don't mean say me na money. What I bring to you is based on my experience. We get a very balanced team. The host is a lawyer of almost 46-year experience. Me experience now in governance and parliamentary affairs. Because we all know say governance is very important, and so is our parliament. Me co-host quote Obama, President Obama. He talk about if you do something repeatedly. But me say go quote Obama, it don't sound like a cliche, because when he go Africa, I remember the first time I met President Obama, and before I even became president, we go Kenya. I was there. You know, we were all doubting him. Say, oh, this is the first time senator. How could he be president? But we know what's happened after. But when he don't become president, he choose some country then for go. He go Ghana, he go Kenya. And when they talk to him fellow Africans and brothers in the main continent, he make one statement. When I in the guide, all the work what they do in a different African country. Before I go forward, I think we have one caller on the line. Let's take that first caller.
Except that okay, let's see what's in this caller, because I don't want to throw away off the agenda.
What President Obama said will be the basis of our discussion today. He said what Africa need, not a strong leadership, but strong institution.
Precisely.
And we program today, we go look at the institution of the ECSL, the judiciary, and the police throughout this election process. So let's pause now, and I don't know, so I will get one caller on the line. Let's entertain that caller there.
Okay, hello caller. What's your name?
Yes, hello.
Say the call from?
Mina Aruna Kamara, the call from New York, sir.
All right, Mr. Kamara, welcome.
Hello?
Yes. Would you hear you?
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. You're welcome.
Now something disturbing I get few weeks back. Then say they attack Dr. Samura in convoy with the head for the APC party headquarters. They don't go, the policemen, they don't barricade the office, then they fire tear gas canisters. and the inside they don't even tweet na Twitter page say then they under siege. Then at the same time, even the Yvonne Akiso herself said they need help. You know, the police then still they send barrage of tear gas canisters. And this is very unfair. This is very unfortunate. The international community wouldn't send observe, not anything. Because if SLPP then know say they don't win the elections, it's very simple. What the APC then demand for, let's have all the polling station results, including your party observer, all the other parties, the observer, plus the agents, they all sit down so they begin to tally the results station by station na the projector. Deliberately, ECSL refused to do that. They try to skew up the results in favor of Madabe, which is very wrong. If not they win, but let them do the right thing. Now that's they call for. But they know how to do the right thing. ECSL from day one, they don't start this manipulation in the registration process. They make sure they disenfranchise a lot of people. The first time registrants them. Then when they come by the verification, and the same thing they do, now so mismatch and misinformation of people, some people face no come, they're not even correct them. Also yesterday when the people go vote. Then when you come back, the same thing, people go, they make sure they send sensitive and non-sensitive material very early now the southwest. Then when it come to western area yesterday and the north, now late up to as 12 o'clock, some side 2 o'clock. Na FBC, even you say me picking go for go vote, or me picking go na Mende and a Limba church na Kisi, then tell them say their own paper, then forget and they send na Kaila, then Kaila na Ika na Kisi, just because they don't know see people them very early morning 5 o'clock, for let people then go discourage and turn. They say there was low turnout in Freetown. So all length in the all length, you know they want plunge the country into chaos and anarchy, which is not good, and we are not ready for that. We don't come up a war. So would they appeal, let ECSL do the right thing. So if I recall, now just this information I don't get this afternoon, say the APC party office, they don't barricade them, then they send tear gas and they fire live rounds, and Samurai then inside it with other party stakeholder. I thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate the call. We also go urge you for continue for listen. If you get any updated information, let we know. Because you know some of them information will get for verify them. So we want to know for sure.
No, if you want to verify, I'm going to put the Samurai Camera in Twitter page now. Beyond all reasonable doubt. It is there now. Okay. And Mr. said, even I'll be watching that platform, they show the live picture. I'll be watching one other platform in collaboration with Weird. Then they show the way they decided. Now live something. I know they give fabrication. Anything again, authentic news.
Okay, we'll have a video to that effect we intend for play. But thank you very much. Okay,
sir. No problem, later. Sir. All right.
All right.
Okay, sir.
Let me hand same to you. Let me hand the audience back to Mr. Mingot.
Well, we thank this caller for what he tell we, because all the issues here we are today we want taking through the step, because a lot of people that will get misinformation, will get propaganda. Yesterday we spent time with the panelists, they analyze elections. So today, now a continuation of the analysis. So some of these issues they already raised, now they can discuss now. First of all, let people understand them where they. Because when they go back, we will probably refer to the plan inside on the second part. But we want for make in a know how from the voting take to the final announcement of the results, because we just get announcement from the ECSL commissioner when the chief returning officer say they don't begin to tally from 10 o'clock this morning. So possibly they go begin announce some of the results them today. So now look and first, now explain to people them how the process they operate. I mean, I can say this is a logistical nightmare. And let people get, and this where they explain to you now from information we'll gather from the ECSL during the various press conference, and also waiting and discuss with the international observer them. For a start, we get 11,832 stations. It's a huge number. 11,832 polling stations. And each polling station will get a minimum of 4 staff. This now apart from the party observers them, the international observers them, and the national observers them. When I talk about international observer, we get the Commonwealth Observer Team, which is headed by Professor Osinbajo, a former vice president of Nigeria. We get the ECOWAS Team, which is headed by a former ECOWAS Secretary General, Ibn Battuta or something, and name like that. AU Team, which is headed by a former Prime Minister of Ethiopia. We get the Commonwealth Team, UNICEF. Then we get the Carter Center. Then we get the Observer. Then in Sierra Leone, we get what you call NEW, National Elections Watch, which is a very vibrant woman, Masala Samba, Sise also. So we get all the observer here. So if you look at low stats, because we take people and through the process, let them understand. Because we now, the purpose now for law educate people about the system. And also, we know they take any result or announce any result now because according to the law, now ECSL now they get for give the official results. Because we don't see boku results in na social media. Whether they say na President Bio win, whether they say na Samora Kamara win. The people in Kenema, they jubilate. Obviously, they voted for President Bio. But then again, the people in Afriton, they jubilate for Samora Kamara and the mayor Akisaya. But in Akisi, the difference, as we call us, say, no will not they say people enough for jubilate. But this idea where police, they go there, now for keep the peace and orderly. But if they turn out like what you do said and they fire people out live bullets, we go deal with that issue. So if you take 11,832 polling stations, with them 4 people and they win at the main people them. You get the one where they check your ID for verify, say you not the main person, and we get some draw where people then go and like the last say, even if your ID verify, sometimes your name go for the other side, then have been problem. So you get the person they verify your ID, say you not the person. Then from that, you go to the next person. When in the check, say you name then at the voters register. And remember, ECSL been said to we because of the quality of the voters ID. We'll go get for talkbot later on. Once you register and get your slip, you supposed for vote. So the system is if you go able to verify when you show your slip, then get for make sure say you vote. You just get for proof. Then you get the one where they give you the ballot paper. Right? With ballot paper there. And there is where the problem lies. Let me tell people that. For once in the election, at the same time, 4 different elections we get. People then get for understand them. We get the presidential election. Where the presidential election, which you see at the ballot paper, now the candidates and in party symbol. So you get President Bio, which the palm tree, you get Samora Kamara, which with the red song, you get Charles Magai, where you get Boku symbol. I think say you get a bunch of, you get broom and a bunch of bag. So now that's the voter in the sea. So again, you know, so we get a lot of people that when I illiterate. So when they go vote, you get for tick the box if you sabi right. But the one that we not sabi right, they get for do their fingerprints. Again, that's a problem. It's unconfirmed. But in one district, we already say they get 10,000 void votes. And I believe, say, if they get 10,000 void votes, it will mostly deal with the people that way they use thumbprint. Because when they use your thumbprint for votes, enough for go over the line or even touch the line. Because if you go over the line, it can be said you're not certain who that you vote for. Right? So, from there now, you go vote. Then you get the polling station manager. So, if you take that 11,832 polling station, it means we need up to about 45,000 people for operate this election. And 90% of them people in there, now people the way they employ temporarily, they're not a staff of ECSL, permanent staff. So the preparation also they in question. Because we see say them people in there, because you get for train the polling station manager, you get for train the one the way they do the verification, you get for train the one the way they issue the ballot paper. So most of them people in there are temporary people the way they employ. And of course, we all know how then they employ people for their job here, because two times they will can employ massively, either census term or election term. We will know what will happen during the census term, right? Even when they're done, people then begin grumble but then pay. So we mentioned down there about that. So these people where they recruit, right? They recruit them and give them training 3 days before deployment. Right? And how they train, they not train them separately. Then say they train the polling station manager them. Then give them what to them called TOT, training of trainers. So when they go now that thing they will go train the other one then. But just imagine, if they train till Tuesday, the election na Saturday. So that shows the confusion. And also the deployment of staff. Because normally, you get for pay them people and they or arrange them transport for let them go to the station. So that is one of the problems we'll get. And also in a member say not to all side observer then go there. The other problem is by right waiting them promissory, each party forget them party agents at the polling station. But on confirmed reports, as we say, we'll not go verify. They say so here and there. Regardless of party stronghold, we then chase some of them party observer then they. And the international observer, they not to all side and go there. So you get some remote station where something a local observer or something observer not go there. So now waiting the apple are taking her through the process. We get this 4 election. The confusion is for the presidential election where I talk, now name and party. The next election, now the minister MP the election. And that MP election day, 9 then they use the PR system. How that system did the work? The party them, now the symbol they did it, picture not the day. We know they vote by constituency. Right? Each party get at least 2 by the number of constituency, then get people in at the list. Right? Now the party then symbol they did. The only people that where they name and picture they did it with the symbol, now the one they win an independent candidate. So for the constituency them, what the ECSL tell we, each party or even independent forget a seat. Let's say the constituency you get 10 seats. Now that one district day. Forget a seat, you forget 11.9% of the vote. So let's take and say, for example, you got a district when at 200,000 people and then are registered. Or let's say 150, which is the average. So 10% of 150,000, now 15,000. 11.9 and another thing. So you talk about roughly 17,000. So now 17,000 votes an independent member will get for let it be represented. And the party then, again, about that amount of vote then they get for their seat. So it means if now any district, one party get 80% of the vote, it means then they get 80% of that number of the way they did. So that again, now new system where they bring come, where it be say the people they don't understand. So they get for vote for using PR. Then we get the chairperson and the mayor. Mayor are the one that will come on the big city them, like Freetown, like Bo, like Kenema, like Kono. The chairperson them, now the one that way ahead of the local government and then districts. For the one they say, you they vote for the person, you they see the person in face, you see in party symbol. You they get independent also pandewan and day. is that the mayor and chairperson them, when they go register and get a nomination, then get a running mate, just like presidential election. When a new thing they bring. So then new thing they are and bring, it go even confusing to the electorate. Then you get the next set of election, when at the ward council of them, again itself na PR system. The same na party symbol you see, and also independent. And forget a ward councillor seat, even an independent get forget 4.6% of the vote, the total district vote. So what for X people them is that one day when a Friday, now four different elections they take place. If maybe they advise ECSL, what would have been easier for people them? On the first day, they mean for vote for the MP them and the councillor them when are under the PR system. Then the second day, when a Sunday, then for votes for president and mayor and chairperson, where now first past the post. That now one confusion, big confusion. I think now that reason they make you get a lot of void votes. Now, when you don't vote now, waiting and say, waiting ECSL agree, then for count the ballots them, na the polling station. And when they count them, then get waiting and call the RRF form. Then the result reconciliation form, where they go enter the number of votes for either a party or a candidate when are independent. So that RRF form day, 9 then they sign the polling station manager plus an observer and the party agents then for sure say this is a true reflection of waiting people then vote for. Then they get for seal the votes in a ballot box. Then get a proper seal, so them tell me. Each ballot box get an identified serial number will link to that polling station day. So from there now, then go take and go na the district tallying center. So now the district they go verify waiting and count na the polling station. When they don't verify them, then do the tallying. Now the RRF forms and the box them, because they get for match them to the box them. Then they go to the regional center. When now the regional center they send their results, then they to the main tallying center na Freetown. When a ECSL headquarter na Wellington Industrial Estate or Wellington warehouse. So you now go see say na a chain of events with a lot of controversy. Because what you get for do, because them ballot boxes and they went and seal them, they don't check. They never keep them in case there is election petition. Mostly for like the mayor and when a one person and for the president. So they therefore keep all length in it. So when they don't tally all the RF forms districts, now that time they now, Mr. Kane will not announce the results, which for start by this late evening and by tomorrow we don't get the results. Last stop here, and that gets me co-host. If you want Rob much on this or ask any clarification before we go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah. Now, the thing based upon what you just explained, so because we on point, I believe, now for point out how instead of the system, and this is not specifically geared towards this current occasion, instead of making it as simple as we can, for make voting as easy as we can, we complicate the thing without regard to the fact that in our population we get a large number of people who don't have formal classroom education, but they are part of us. In fact, that group of people there, the vast majority of the politicians then today, now from that group they didn't come. But they're acting as if these people don't exist. You know? The vast majority of we politicians and of all parties come from that group of people who they classify as illiterate. Now, very few of us who politicians them go 2 generations back in terms of having formal education. So you would think when they come, any political calculation, number one should be for make the system more efficient and fairer or fair. And number 2, to make it easy on the people who cannot read and write, but who have just as equal rights to voting. So what we don't see, they are just being kicked to the side. They are being given the least consideration. You know, we set up policy for confuse them. You know, for make sure, say, the only way you will get 10,000 council votes in a particular voting location, not because people maybe then get ink in their hand, they're all, well, we see situations, so you cannot hard to guess, because we see a situation where a gentleman is being chased because all the fingers then get ink, what they say they use deliberately for nullify people and then vote. Where people and gear and stuff, then they put in inky finger on the thing, that kind of cancel the person who vote. One question: if that is a policy by the government, why should it be? Why should certain people be sent to polling stations just to have the ability for council people in vote in a surreptitious manner, in a crooked way? We are not helping the country. Now, you may be helping the political party from whom you're not going to benefit anything. You Pekin, they're not going to benefit anything. The country not going to benefit anything. But you might get the emotional satisfaction for say, let me party this. Because this is what 90% of Australians, top educated people, PhDs, then cannot get over this mentality of party loyalty. They put party loyalty above country. They rather see the country go down. They rather see the country destroyed. They rather see the country exploited. As long as Nadenian party wouldn't support. I mean, it's madness. It's crazy. It's not logical. And I've always stated my position. I can't see how I can belong to these 2 top parties, but then we get. Okay? Because neither one of them are trying to build the structure so the system can work better. People don't come to power for make sure, say, the way they make the system, it will be better. Because all them here Mr. Mengot just mentioned, these are very basic things to be corrected. Very basic. First of all, now, you have to question the competence of the commissioner. And I'm talking about academic competence. We don't talk about anything else. And again, then go come back and say, oh, then get 60 PhD. Well, show me what your PhD can do. Show me what your master's degree can do. You to run an election, a post where you don't hold for years, I mean for months. You did train election workers them, 3-4 days before the election. And then they training when they get not to any kind of substantive training. Now for that, no more than did it. Now, if Mr. Commissioner is this highly educated person from whatever university he attend, if that's the best he could do for the country, shame on him. Shame on him. But I know he knows better. Because he, like a lot of people, then see their loyalty to party, not to country. The other thing we all know, say, in the hiring process, they're not making open to the public. You get forget party membership to be hired at the ECSL for being a permanent employee. Well, how does that help the country? Well, party membership is a criterion. It shouldn't be, if we are serious about running things. But even when you go to the appointment of the ECSL commissioner, these are some of the things. It's time for put with talent, with college degree them, all of we go University of Heaven and Hell and this and that. Let's show what we can do for the country. Okay? Not to do chaos time after time after time when there's an election. Here is the latest information we're getting. And again, this is something I've spoken about over and over and over. The police and the military should not be intimidating forces in a time like this. Why are they going around intimidating people with tear gas and live ammunition? Under whose command is that coming? And the trouble is, when you give absolute power to the police and without accountability, there lies the problem. You see? So you can get any senior member.
Mr. Sheila.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
For the basis of reviewers, I think say let the technical team, because we try to be transparent and open.
Okay.
I think say the technical team forget a video to show these actions of the police, or even the one way the APC people and they inside the office they cry for help, as that caller said, okay. Because while viewers they see them, not all man will see them. Then we can now go into the issue where we talk about the role of the police and the security apparatus in this election policing process. Because we get other videos them will show where they catch police officer them with materials. So technical team, if you can hear, we can show that the force.
Anybody will know by government hospital, as they come up so no more by the government hospital. Do you wanna scatter this message? Box then they inside, box then they inside. See the house, box then they inside. Now 4 normal force you don't catch. 4 box then are the wrong old force. Now policeman, they all 2 na policeman, the woman and the girl. Look at look them. So they do under with custody. Hey, they never pull on there. 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 I see una come. They never pull the box there. They never pull them. They don't pull for swan. Exam, and the one this. And the box and they inside. When and thief, they inside.
The police are not start for fire today. The 25 inside the AP's office. Open that remote. Open that remote. As soon as they see now, they don't start for fire. As soon as they see them, they see them. When they see them, when they come, they fire. When they see them, when they see them, when they see them. As then they fire now inside the party office. When they see them.
Okay, before I let me host for, we don't see 2 conflicting roles of the police. On the one hand, the first video when I see, now where citizens say they arrest police officer them. This is not citizen arrest. Say my man go rob much panda legal talk there, because even the president been before the election, he not able to protect all man. The people there for protect their votes there. So that's an example of how people they protect their votes them with ballot box, which they alleged, I use the word qualifyingly, alleged with them is tough with the police there. So why should the police be involved in that? The second video in a show, we will show you now waiting with first caller been showy. where the police them, then put the APC people there under siege. Now them party office. Well, we get various comments. They say them they jubilate. But if then they jubilate, what is wrong with jubilating? Right? Something that they jubilate, say they don't know the election not done, they don't go vote, then they wait for Mr. Kane for announcing. Why this trigger happy police people then for begin the fire tear gas and they shoot live bullets? And police then get codes of conduct just like the army man them. We can plenty tell them, you know they use live bullets unless your life or even if you want to use live bullet, you want to shoot gun, you can shoot up the air for dispersed crowd. So let's stop there and let's get my colleague for analyze this role of the security services in this election based on that 2 video clip here we don't show you now.
Well, a couple of things. I don't say over and over and over. Unless we deal with the issue permanently, not temporarily, this police misbehavior, these police excesses, you know, and with this police unaccountability, they can go out, decide in a whim for start shooting. And again, let people understand, it's happening now under the current government. By no stretch of the imagination am I proposing that it is unique to this government. It goes as way back as Pasha Kintem. This involvement, you know, weaponizing the police. It has brought no relief. It not bring stability in our country. It just keep we political system on a downward spiral. And we don't seem to care, we policymakers. They got everybody want that extra advantage. Okay? So this is not pointing finger at this. The trouble is, unless we decide after this election and get the Kenyans and consult with them, because they had worse problems than this, but then get dedicated leaders them who decided enough is enough. Okay? All this thing about tribalism, we get 17 Kenya, get far more. But they no say all this exploitation about to tribe. Elections should not be based on all the NGO decision. So until we get a system where we all go agree on, where we get diversity of opinions. Because one of the problems in Sierra Leone, you get a bunch of people who think alike, get the same background, educational background, and create a committee of them, and then want something that has diversity of ideas. Well, it's not going to happen. You know? Because that was not the purpose to start with. That's why when we have Lawyer Magai recently in our show, I tell and say one thing they overlook. We are full of ourselves. In American language, we are arrogant. You know? We think we know more than we know. If we set committee for generational outcome, you can't just take a bunch of people in. We graduate from Sierra Leone Law School, when there are thousands, maybe hundreds of Sierra Leoneans who went to universities around the world who studied law, who can make meaningful contribution, you exclude them. You discard them. You act as if they don't matter at all. You get this narrow group of people with narrow view for set policy. Policy where they have seen nothing better. I keep saying over and over, you guys may be impressed with all the lawyers they work in a salon, they get LLM, they get this and that. Ask any one of them, how many of them have darkened the wall of an American courtroom? or a Canadian courtroom or an Australian courtroom. They don't care. They're not interested. So if you want to build a new courthouse in a saloon, if a Chief Justice has never been in a decent courthouse anywhere in the world, what does he have to offer Sierra Leone? You know? Now the scrap we're exposed to, then with some of the so-called people away and put in a committee. So we can't expect anything better. Will it not be healthier for the country if we get lawyers who've trained in the British system, lawyers who've trained in the 50 American states, legal system, trained in 50 countries, even in the simple designing of a courtroom or a courthouse? Okay? The average salon lawyer...
So Mr. Shillon, hold for that, because why I want to let you hold fire, it come on the next topic where you go get for deal with for we.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When the courts in the electoral system before and after. Now,
I like to get
what they talk about is the security. Another thing we farm will learn for know is that let me explain to people them how the security system works, because this program is an educative program, right? Now, let's take the police what they talk about, right? The line ministry for the police, now the Ministry of Internal Affairs. That ministry there, now they look after police, immigration, correctional services, we now we call prisons. So they are all part of the security force. Then we get the Office of National Security, where now the intelligence arm of the security system. When then they look at potential threats. In fact, we will not listen to them before this election, right? But one concern where me get and my co-host go rub much on that. Now the involvement of two groups of people. Now separate them. Now you get the military, right? And the military, we see soldier man them with gun around polling stations. Not all, but some of them. And when you see an armed soldier man dressed in military fatigue, like say they go war, and people then they go vote peacefully, that alone can intimidate them. If you want soldier man to be involved, because on average, we get 14,000 police people. Watch this figure. We have 14,000 policemen then, between 14 to 18,000. I know we'll get the right number. For police, a population of 7.5 million people. When you take the military, we get a similar amount of people, number of people. Because even in the military, we get the regular army, you get the Navy, you get the Air Force. Right. But another group, because even with the police, you get the regular police, you get the SSD, where to mean a paramilitary. Now they see mostly where they wear that fatigue uniform, we get easily, when them be very trigger happy. Though you get me people they work in the work with traffic police there. When they wear that white sleeve. But then in the military, apart from the military, one danger thing we don't get now, we don't hear beaucoup complain. Now the people that way, now presidential guard them. They call them presidential guard. We don't see various videos them where some of these people in the presidential guard, they make video. Even from the presidential lodge, they say if anybody want to unbug this government, then go finish them. In fact, there's a notorious one with the name of Hungry Lion, who is very boastful. So the presidential guard them also, although they are supposed to be under the serving military, but they are a force of their own. They're not loyal to the state, they're loyal to the president. we notice even with the Pademba Road killing, we will not get the report stated the way the government, the prison massacre. It was rumored that the people that will take part in that, now the presidential guard. And one danger we'll get, waiting the government can justify for bring military into civilian matter, we'll get something we'll call MACP. I think these are the things that we can after the Civil War. What does MACP mean? It means military aid to civil power. You know, we then give government that option they for bring soldier man willy-nilly, or we go invoke MACP. Soldier man, not to for deal with, they not train them for crowd control. Soldier man is trained to be war, and not to what we get. So these are some of the challenges that we'll get in the country with the security force. From what I don't say, I think say Miko also go rub much pan. Go to the main topic. Key part of this topic now, when at the judiciary, we learn and judge them. Because two things happen. We been get Charles Maga here, we heard what he said. Because they say, who they not certify, let's seek redress through the courts. So I don't know if Mr. Sheila want to talk about this security people, the involvement with the police, because you get the police, you get the SSD, no, OSD, because the name don't change. What they go all the internal security units, then on that later on they change them to SSD, that's Special Service Division. Then now we call them OSD, Operational Service Division. These guys are paramilitary. They don't know anything but to use firearms and tear gas from people. And the police get a code of conduct. So before Donla just say, why would they talk about the police? I don't talk about the Ministry of Internal Affairs, but the Constitution make provision for the police. And the police council is headed by the vice president and other people there. And key in that council there, you get the Bar Association, where my brother will get a lot for talk about their own role, where they go for the next topic. The Bar Association is represented, the Minister of Internal Affairs is represented. That council now responsible for look into the operational conduct of the police to do with promotion. Because like for instance, when they appoint the IG, it get for go through the council and not to one person, because you get several senior police officers from the rank of AIG. Now they will be eligible. AIG is Assistant Inspector General. Then you get the DIG. When are the Deputy Inspector General before you get the Inspector General. Convention would have it that normally when an IG retire, now the DIG for take over. So that end day force, Mr. Sheila will get a caller on the line. Let me hear what you get for say.
All right, sir. Hello, caller. What do you know your name? Where you call from?
Hello, viewers. This is Umar. They call from Switzerland.
All right, Mr. Umar. Welcome.
Okay. We tell you thank you over here for the information. At least they make they know what they go on at the ground, you know. But what we want to tell young people and Sierra Leoneans at large, election a process, you know. A day by stage. Now we don't vote. Campaign don't pass. People don't vote. Now what people get for do? Let us don't suffer, patiently wait for results. You know. Now it's so easy that you able to verify your information before ever you put them out. But these 2 days from yesterday and vote to now, the kind of information is within our social media, all man the print result, and that's they create a lot of problems. You know. They get the IRN where now over 50 radio stations within Sierra Leone where make up the IRN, and then in our Facebook, as I talk to una, so they give current election updates. So, but why people don't listen to that? Why people manufacture their own result or their own tally provisional result? Them now we need to understand. This na time, na a very crucial time, this, and a very, 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 very simple for me. At one time we go into any problem where you know go find for the entire nation. So what do they say? Let every Sierra Leonean sit down, let them patient, then wait for the body where is responsible for announce result, rather than for take on to the street and create some kind of mayhem for people. Now, the analysts talk about the security, the presidential guard. I think say that problem they even the time when me did it because I did I witnessed the Anes by Chroma election 2012. Even at that time, presidential guards say me they go on the street, they dance. I still remember that PZ. They dance, they celebrate to the motorcar for a particular candidate. Where a very wrong. So, but that problem it go there because it happen. Anybody with a kind of power, it just they find in 2-3 people where before say they speak the same language or they come in the same region, they make them as presidential guard. So the only way to solve that, now if we get a state, something like at least a secret service, a state organized presidential guard, where it go there anytime you know they fear say that it will lost a job. Thank you very much. But because if we not do that, we'll still get this problem anytime we election day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brother Umar. You see, there's a whole lot wrong with the system. Now, I agree with you. Say people indeed and they make projection out here and they come up with winners and losers. Unfortunately, that will happen. It prevents things because in the state of mass media, people will just sit down and make up stories and then put another system. But, yeah, I see the call, but let me finish what you had to say. But the problem we get now is we have the Electoral Commission has to be recommissioned. We can't take this circular system of just appointing who that we think say will cheat for we within a power. That is not in the interest of the country. And if we appoint, we get for appoint people who have some experience, some background in electoral law, or having worked in electoral commissions abroad or locally. I mean, we get for find competent people. Let us not forget, say, one of the problems in Sierra Leone, we just give positions with full knowledge that the positions being handed out cannot be well served by the people who are being given this position, not just political patronage. Well, all that thing I get effect. If me a president, if I win presidency, then I decide, say, oh, well, some guy will all come us alone. Now we'll be the place so can hire. We can visit each other, we can eat. I could make an external affairs minister. Even though sometimes they get a bachelor's degree or something, not even go to college at all. If we say that we country deserve. Now like banking, you get out what you put in. So when we get leadership, we know they appoint the right people, some of whom may not have any political affiliation, but may not mind serving from big organizations, from the IMF, from from the UN, from multi-billion-dollar corporations, who have, you get people in Sierra Leoneans who could handle Bank of Sierra Leone with a whim, with their eyes closed. You know?
Yes, some of these people not keep this collar hanging on for long. Sometimes you're busy. Not keep the collar hanging on for. Is it still on the line?
Well, let me make this point. But some of them people here, if you, for example, if you decide, say, when you want, okay, let me check the caller. Hello, caller, what's your name?
Yeah, I think I'll take the caller because we don't know side. Yeah.
I'm just trying to avoid interrupting the conversation.
When good evening again. This is Fudi Mustafa from Leicester.
Hello, Mr. Fudi Mustafa. Thanks for calling.
Yes, no problem. I just want to give you and talk about this. This all that the thing they talk about lack of institutions. I talk this because I get a Kenyan colleague where they say we get their problem, but they know say their problem lies was around the constitution. But then we get a president who get bold enough for tackle them. So they tackle him, then you see that the former president Kenyatta, and we get serious problems with the former vice president. But you know, he will do nothing because the law not favor him. It gave him all kind of allegations, oh, murder or this or that. He cannot do anything. The worst thing about their relationship was when the guy win as president, because the Kenyan colleague Nani tell me so. The worst feeling where Kenyatta expressed was then get a state, a presidential guard where no partisan. Therefore, protect the president, whichever president. The same president, the same security we in get at Kenyatta at that time, where they pronounce the other guy as president, they just move over in front of Amogo. They just move over. Then go stand behind Ruto. You see what they call institution? The same security where in the get where you feel they just move over from the the outgoing president to the current president or the incoming president. That is what we call institutions. But we as alone, only the comfort of the ruling class. We don't want to be in opposition. They talk about, oh, APC don't waste money for constitutional reform. They don't waste money. They came to power. 5 years don't pass. They're not doing nothing. So you see, they find comfort in this constitution that we have. So they will not change it because police, they point police, go catch this. Look at this silly thing where they happen today. Waiting at the essence of going to the party office of somebody, where the election number, not to protest again. I can't understand what the police they go do now. Anyway, I just like giving to boost about the institution. Thank you very much, guys.
Okay,
yes,
Mr. Mustafa.
Let me respond to this man.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for your call. And I can tell you, say, I'm very much familiar with the Kenya situation. And we'll therefore talk about that when my colleague they talk about the law. What you are mentioning at the time was when they get the problem where they get a challenge of the results. That was between Mwai Kibaki and Raila Odinga. And coincidentally, the Mawena president now was on Raila Odinga's side. And this last election, now then two contest the election, then for sure how Kenya they not mature in them politics. Right? And one thing where the Kenya do as they talk about expatriates, I was working in Kenya by then as a World Bank expert. Now my main fields were in traffic management and road safety. And I see where the two sides then come together. That was Raila Odinga and Mwai Kibaki campaign for letting them change their constitution. They did a referendum. And when they do their constitutional review, they not only bring Kenya inside, the Kenyans, they bring experts. And what was the outcome of that constitutional review? Decentralization, which is what we have been talking about in Sierra Leone. Because one of the problems, now when one president come, now you get for share the cake. And I get for appointment, Kenya reduced their ministers, what they call cabinet secretaries, to no more than 25. This is a country with a population of over 70 million. They also transfer power to the regions. They also make sure say the judges are independent because 3 times now, Kenyan judges don't deal with election petition. When are the next way my colleague go kind to, right? They make sure say even the Chief Justice, when they appoint him, he's been interviewed. They put him in the sea, and then they ask the member of the public, say, if anybody gets any bit, why they not for appoint that person there? Let them bring him forward. So all the key institutions, they made them independent of government. And to round up, when this president, William Samuel Ruto, who I know personally, when he came to power, the first warning he gave was to the police. Say, the police, not get no business from politics. You are there to serve the people, not get involved. And when we do case studies, I will recommend, let's learn from Kenya. I lived in Kenya for 7 years. In fact, I was there when Sierra Leone did not even have an embassy. They only have a consulate. I served as the head of the Sierra Leone community in Kenya, acting as a de facto representative of the Sierra Leone government. Because in Kenya, that's where you have UNEP, United Nations Environmental Program, and UN Habitat, 2 main UN headquarters, plus a major World Bank regional office. But this discussion is not about me. There are so many people, some better than me, as my colleagues say. I know of Sierra Leoneans that will get top position in IMF. I know of Sierra Leoneans who get top position in International Finance Corporation. I know of Sierra Leoneans that will get top position in peacekeeping. So we are the only country where we know they use with talent. Because again, one of the problems we'll get now this dichotomy between home base and JC, all these two seem nonsense. Oh boy, they enjoy. Why not they can't put much on this? We talk. Elections. Oh, you know the votes. Why you for talk? Well, I left and they will get another caller on the line. I like this program today because it's interactive. We want to let the public then they give their opinion. Let we know where to they talk. Whether it makes sense to them. Yes, Mr. Shilon, lead the caller.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you come from?
Yeah. In a good afternoon to Unade and good evening to Winaya. I'm in a showers from Holland, the Netherlands.
Okay, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Shellon and your colleague. Just one contribution between when we talk about this election. Yeah. You see, to start with me, I normally can like to introduce to show myself. Me an APC, not only a supporter, but a registered APC member. Anybody wants, I will send all the information to run a Holland at this for 22 years. And I recently come out of Freetown for February. Right? So that's not the first side. The second side is like, between most of we, this na human nature. When it judge any case, you get to be sentimental, you get to be emotional, you get to be neutral. Most of it very sentimental and emotional on this APC SLPP matter. I don't know whether not because of we connections them or we with attitude naturally for say we don't let this irrespective of what. All this problem what they face, Mr. Shellon, to be honest, the party APC. I know they blame Madabio. Because they say, what to make America today? People, population in the world, China get, how many, China population how much to compare to America? Almost 4 or 5 times.
Oh yeah.
Indian population how much to America? Almost 4 or 5 times. But they run for survive through America. With all the population of all the waitings of America, they control them. Waiting to because they're united. A united minority will always be mightier in the battle with the majority. Now, in the happen with Winner Sierra Leone, particularly this election time, APC from the world go for the past 2 years with disorganized. We don't talk now Europe, we don't talk now, we don't go to America, we don't talk. We not try for certain things. Them say the die a minute. We not get one single day where we so-called leaders them or elders them they come, then talk with unit in terms of unity, you know, they among all sides get terms. And when things for them, you don't go blame your opponent. Mr. Shalom, me and you na fambul. If me and you not unite, how we will pay to labor? It's not possible.
That's true.
But they say all the time they go to court, they go to court. While the election on for 1 year time, all the companies claim the election happen this time. Would they fed, go and do some illegal things there. At the end of the day, the election that happened yesterday. So just like America and Europe, we were the outside. Anybody like Sierra Leone. One, we don't listen to some of who don't follow the training, we don't follow the process. And today, not of them say they take in America court. Now fact, now they take in America court and Europe court. So who are the outside will not be sentimental. The election officers don't come out, the chairman don't come out, Mr. Konesi. All them boxes then you colleague they talk about too. It say that policeman and that lady with the cage. Now ballot papers then call for. Then give them the lady the people them escort for let them go with them. With people in Sierra Leone, the lawlessness is there now with DNA. Yes, it a measure about citizen arrest in America. Citizen arrest in America, you know, easily let somebody go do citizen arrest, you go kill in company. And that citizen arrest, they go away. Then they charge you for manslaughter. The only thing where you go kill somebody in America for, now when you waiting set, when you say self-defense. But citizen arrest, so then people, and the way they arrest them, they go burn Mutuka, put the Mutuka, they go beat policeman, or they beat. We go for land for respect. No matter how the situation, we go for land for respect the law enforcement.
Thank you very much, caller. Your time is up. Thank you very much, caller. We don't take note of your observation. Your time is up. I think so. We'll get another caller on the line.
You can call back.
Yeah, you can call back. We'll get another caller on the line. Low Giam is a few time for call. I think so. We'll get a caller on the line now.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Who's the call from?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Shilon. This is Abdul. I call from Maryland.
Oh, hello, Abdul. Welcome back.
Yeah.
There's a phone ringing somewhere.
Thank you for this intriguing and educating topic we want to bring up. As I always don't say, you know, the country we get a long way for go. With this we institutions then. If unless and until this week 1991 Constitution we revisit them thoroughly, then we're not going to see any headway in the democratic process. The previous caller just mentioned that it seems as if the parties then the benefit from the lacunas within the 1991 Constitution. So as a result, you see anywhere we come, from Tijankaba in term, not to now start. Tijankaba in term, dragging food for you visit the Constitution, you bring Peter Tucker, spend 10 years, you not go anyway. And it's Kuma the same thing, spend billions of leons of dollars for review the Constitution. The late man, Justice Kawan, he died, the thing not take away. And Mara Yusuf come and say, okay, let's take him out from the dust, the cupboard. He don't dust them. He say, okay, I bring a white paper. But up till the election, unable for write a constitution, we're able for table in parliament. Now see the parliamentarians now, let them drag them foot now for enact them. The thing not go anyway. So then institutions there, the Electoral Commission, the police, then get a major role for play in the electioneering process. As Mr. Mengo alluded to that, to something this about Kenya. Kenya, 2 elections, we don't face about 3, we don't face disputes. The 2007, the 2018, 18 or 17 election, we then overturn the results, we then say them for conduct another new election. And this one way, the electoral commission, 3 electoral commissioners, they not take part on the announcement of the result. The reason why some of them heads of the institutions here, she always want side with the powers that be, like the president, we appoint them. Now because they want to maintain a position. You see, if we get a system wherein, like the example of Kenya, where now you will go for you will go for an interview, then screen you well before ever you get the appointment, it will fine. So that when somebody don't occupy them security of 10 oppositions in there, you know they free. You execute your duty dispassionately without fear or favor, because you know the prayer to satisfy one person at the detriment of the country. These are we always they grapple with this. if we're not able to change the constitution, then there is something where they bother me again. We forget from Ghana and Kenya. Ghana and Kenya get a transitional act. Sierra Leone no get them. And with 1991 constitution, after the presidential election, there should have been a time for create room for any yes. If somebody wants seek redress by the court of law, at least it can go seek the redress. Then after the court adjudicates and prove the validity or not of the issue we bring can go there, then they can certify the result. But Sierra Leone, as they announce the result, there should be no vacuum. Then swear in one thing. So if any constitutional breach or judicial redress therefore address, it will be difficult for let them overturn any election. These are some of the issues the way we need for Amara to deal with politicians and let them understand say whatever law that they make up for posterity, not for themselves. Because you get for left there after 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you go and sit down and look back and say, I did it well. I just say for call and make this new small contribution. I've stopped so far.
Thank you, sir. As always. Hello, caller. What's your name? Who's that you call from? Hello, caller. Hello. Okay. Now, the two last callers the gentleman talk about we in America, I will refer to the guy from Holland at vigilantism, where people then take matters into their hands, become the accuser, the judge, the jury, and the executioner, without giving people then what we call due process. That is, as soon as they accuse you for something, people then begin to beat you. Now, I agree with you wholeheartedly. These are some of the fundamentals we get for changing our process. Because sometimes I don't see people being chased, and it may very well be they are guilty of what they've been accused of. But we have to have a system to go by. Everybody cannot take the law into their hands.
I think the caller has come back, Mr. Shillon. The caller has come back. Let's deal with it.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Say the call from. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Caller, what's your name? I think we still get connectivity problem. Yeah, we lost him again,
Okay.
or her.
You don't come back.
Hello, caller.
Yes, caller, can you hear us? Caller, can you hear us? I think he's not hearing us, so probably you'll call back. If you're having connection problem, call me back. Now, we don't deal with this issue. One of the things, okay, let me acknowledge the people the way they send messages online. There is this one where say SLPP we are celebrating as well as party office, but no one goes stop them. That is the issue for deal with this alleged, although we don't see the video, siege of the APC party office. And we get another caller where we say somebody writes say, "Oh, show the world waiting to happen." But I feel say that person there he joined the broadcast very late, because before we begin, we did show the video from the APC party office. We did show it, and I'm sure many other people they don't look at. But I don't this thing now. We forget a very important thing where other people they mention about the Kenya event, where I think say my colleague here gets a lot of experience on knowledge and advice. Because if you remember, we'll be host Charles Magai, lawyer Charles Francis Magai. Because always when anything that happen, they say go court. In fact, some of the people them can quote the former NEC, na be NEC who call a National Electoral Commission chairperson, Christiana Top, we been cancelled some election in some area because of overvoting. Then when people they object, they say let them go court. So now that same thing now, it look like say the present government and supporters, they use back talk. Say for go court. If people are not satisfied with either the election results, but we know say like Charles Francis Magai, even before the election, we don't go court for question the competence and the constitutionality of bringing in this man called Mohamed Kaneo Kone as ECL. And he also been mentioned, say, when he been go for the parliament, 51 MPs then not be approval. So that's beside the point. But let's stick to this election side. We don't hear the case of Kenya, where Kenya don't get 3 presidential petitions. Because that's the key, because the president are the way they rule. The first one, I was there in Kenya. That was in 2007. We didn't get election 2008. That was between Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. Then again, the second one, there was another one in 2012. Raila Odinga again, because the first one, the court ruled against the petitioner. The second one, the court ruled in favor of the petitioner. Then even the recent one, we see between Ruto and Raila Odinga, where the court ruled against Raila, who was the challenger, on grounds say you don't get sufficient evidence for make the annul the election and make Ruto president. And one thing with Kenya and petition, the system, petitions must be determined 2 weeks after the election. We know say even when President Bio was in power, there was a petition by no other person than Our Lady who is committing Dr. Sylvia Blyden. He been petitioned the Bio presidency. I don't think that case took over 2 or more years for actually determining. I don't know whether the outcomes. So with the example we don't give, and now, especially the allegations we don't get of ballot stuffing, of rigging, of people that were not eligible for votes, because you determine and disenfranchise them, a whole lot of people. And we know say the Chief Justice don't tell we say he don't get judged the way they deal with election petition cases. And we don't get a timeline on that. So how can we make the judiciary independent? Because you see the judiciary get 2 roles. One, now that they interpret the constitution, we don't see what it happen with the PR system. 2, when we get disputes in electoral matters, now the same one get for determiner. And at their own pleasure. So they are take people into this process, and with your legal background, how we improve the system for get justice and fairness.
Thank you, Mr. Mengot. These are not complicated issues to which there are no solutions. Because a lot of the issues there, now at we own creating or creation, you know? So because we get for question the intent of those who go to parliament or those who propose these laws, and the intent, whether no matter that these are laws of convenience for the party in power, or these are laws that they've given serious consideration to and then think it's in the best interest of the country. I will argue that most of these laws are not thought about or proposed with the best interest of the country in mind. One of the callers just now call and say, he getting a proposal. And to me, that's the beauty. Because there are too many Sierra Leoneans with very intelligent people, highly educated, qualified. Okay, so he proposed something just now. I could add to that, but not in this setting. But to talk about how people have to be interviewed. But that will not give the Chief Justice the security he needs. The security the Chief Justice needs is a detachment from the executive office. And this is an awkward situation. We have 3 co-equal branches of government. And yet, basically, we have the president as head of the judiciary as a practical matter. On paper, it sounds like the Chief Justice is not secured in his place as Chief Justice. He will only react to the beckon of the president or the executive. I mean, this is a fact. So is that a system we want? We don't want to change it? How can we expect the system to improve if when we come, when we go, the party in power figure say, hey, me not the president, I get power over the other branch, so I'm not going to let go of that power there. That power should be challenged. It's an unconstitutional exercise of the power of the office. He has no right for dictate to the Chief Justice. He has no right to demand from the Chief Justice. But the way you do it, this is the thing. You don't blame President Bio. Because not doing right then, Lord, and they have believed. Now, the way APC go about it is bad intent. I always say President Bio is just an incidental beneficiary of laws that were not well thought out. And so he's the beneficiary. SAP is a beneficiary. So as much as we may not like sometimes how he exercises that power, now power wouldn't give him, some of which is unconstitutional. I have raised the issue. Salon supposedly get big time lawyers then go tell you how all them great school where they go. They have diplomas on the wall from left to right, from top to bottom. But I've raised one simple issue. How could the president of the of Sierra Leone have the ability to call midterm census when the Constitution say there shall be census every 10 years? Then go subsequently, Parliament go pass. You can tell these guys don't know what they're doing. Then go pass a legislation giving the president such nonsensical power, and he's been exercising it, and all these great lawyers in the country don't challenge it, including the opposition, wait for hire the best and the brightest. Even if it means to forget them from abroad. Because when I limit to safe to within that small group of people who have no exposure or little or very little exposure. But when I think so, when I get the best and the brightest. And this is what is killing us. You don't want to invite other Sierra Leoneans with more knowledge and wherewithal to challenge some of the ridiculous laws there. You know, that matter should have been in court before President Bio blink when he's saying they call for midterm. But people don't know any better. They say, well, Parliament's getting the power. But Parliament doesn't have such power. That's what the Constitution is all about. Parliament cannot pass any law will contravene or contradict the existing law in the Constitution. This is basic constitutional law, basic stuff.
Okay, just hold on, Salah, just comment on that. Because I'll tell you, I mean, from my knowledge of parliamentary procedures, and being at the fact that I was privileged to spend 8 years in the British Parliament who borrowed the system from, what normally happens is the way we draft with legislation. And it came to this conversation where you rub much panel. Because even with the PR system, when it was introduced, it was for a particular reason. But the way they draft the act or the amendment when at 38A1, it was not clearly, it just said only if an election has been called, you understand, the date of an election is known, and there is no constituency, which was not the case, you can argue, then the ECSL commissioner, whatever, can seek audience with the president, and the president can approve her. So when you make those amendments, the original intention of that addendum to the constitutional law, section 38A, it was for a specific purpose, because the first time it was used, the proportional representation, now after we come out from war, where there was no constituency. So at that time, it was useful, and the security situation at the country not be warrant for let them go around, go do boundary. So you can get a party list system, which is that party list is the party will submit names depending on the number of seats where they win, the votes where they get at the district, they allocate the seats to them. Now then people and they go put. But this new one now where they bring come, the ECSL commissioner, he calculates all kind of formula because he used the census where they discredit for the election for 2018. He used some of the figures where they challenging and do the 5-year census. Then also, he used their own census result, combine the two, mix and match, and determine some formula where he pluck off his head for allocate seats. So again, let's go back to the census we mentioned. If the constitution say every 10 years, I think the reason why they said you can get census 5 years,
there
if you
should
do
be
5
no
years census.
Trust me,
Okay.
Mr. Mengo.
Okay.
There should be constitutionally. He said no. There should be no. What is in the constitution? Okay. No legislation can contradict that. There should be no reason. There should be no constitutional reason. That's a fact.
Okay, sir.
That's where they messed up, because you contravene the constitution. No subsequent legislation for contradict what the constitution demand. It shouldn't happen. I mean, it's as simple as that. The reason why they are making this mistake, this guy is not exposed to constitutional law.
It's the same again with this new Elections Act 2022. Because in the Constitution, there are certain specifications of the powers of the ECSL Commissioner and all the rest of it. So by extension now, the same thing where you mentioned, I watch it at 100%, the Electoral Act should not contravene anything in the elections, in the Constitution.
Yeah.
I agree with that. So that's the problem we have. And I can allow you to flow with this idea of the appeal court and how they deal with electoral cases. Then we will end the program by looking at how do we now tackle this beast of constitutional reform.
The way we tackle them, now the willingness to tackle it, which you don't see on the part of either party. Because once they're in power, the lopsidedness of the law serves them purpose. Doesn't serve the country. It serves the purpose of the party in power. Okay? So we need a leader who has the courage, who has the vision, who can see things all around as to what is good for the country, not what is good for SLPP or APC. We're having difficulty with that quality of leadership, you know? So I think that's where we start. Now we talk in detail, we say, and sometimes they get these impressive press releases. Oh, the Chief Justice will appoint 27 judges where they're not trained. In fairness to the country, Mr. Chief Justice, as a matter of full disclosure, not on my part, on your part, why don't you tell us who are these judges, when and where were they trained, and what sort of training did they receive?
He did tell us where there was a press release on the judges that were allocated to the different districts.
Okay.
Yeah. He did
allocation.
say that.
Allocation.
Yeah, he mentioned allocation.
Okay, what about the training? We're talking about something of national import. So we shouldn't be taking these things lightly. And what sort of training did these judges be? Because these judges have to come up with substantive stuff. But what is happening and what criteria we use for this Chief Justice for appoint these judges? Because we do know, and I can use as an example, when you beget the commission where President Bio said recently about the August 10 incident of last year, where he appoints a supposedly prominent lawyer at the country for head the commission. Then what he do at the end of the commission, he take statement where the president won't include the commission's report as part of the commission's report. So you can't lend credibility to this kind of thing. So how were these judges, wasn't the criteria for the judges then? Were they appointed on tribal line, which President Bio has made no secret of, that he feels comfortable in the midst of one tribe? Or was it an
before you go there, sir, I just want to flash you back. Okay. When you mentioned they've been calling this, one of the other things where you and the lawyer is talk about making use of our resources. We talk about human capital and development, but also we therefore talk about experience. And they say experience is their school that teaches only fools. You remember, we will not get the Beckles Davis Commission of Inquiry.
Yeah.
We will get the Dovedwin Commission of Inquiry. What I would have thought, when you got such situation like the August 10, rather than taking a lawyer, where that lawyer they also at the time was representing in a case against the government, because to be precise, he was representing ECSL in the petition for the PR system.
He had all kinds of conflicts of interest.
He was also a lawyer for a very controversial case with the government. That was the Kamaremba case.
Yeah.
With this situation, does it mean we could get ex-judges, right? Retired judges. Because remember, when Charles Magai came to our program, he said one of the things that will not be left, where they not be looking for, where he say if any judge where they over 60 in the retired. So when you retire, they were afraid because when they don't pass that retirement age, they're at the pleasure of the president. So if you get situation where these retired judges would be the ones who will handle these commissions of inquiry, various commissions of inquiry. We get so many. You get the Pademba Road massacre, right? You get even the issue for deal with the suspension of the Attorney General, the Auditor General. These are things where you need those experienced minds. And I want to round up here that way Charles Magai said in our program, this idea of having the Attorney General who doubles up as the Minister of Justice, we're supposed for appoint a president, but it's also part of the cabinet, and the cabinet is run on this basis of the doctrine of collective responsibility. So here is a man who sits in cabinet decision. Some of them might be illegal, but it doesn't stand a chance to correct the government because it's wearing so much panentia small for Ipa.
Well, clearly, it's a conflict of interest. Now, one of the things that they're about to say entirely different line than with legal system. Because the problem what we get in a salon, well, let me just address before I forget what you need to talk about legal minds, experienced minds. You take a man like Charles Magai, put his politics aside, like him or not, some of the instances there will give. He could have been appointed a commissioner to lead. He's a man of integrity. Nobody would dispute that as far as I know. Okay? I don't think you can find anybody with higher integrity than he does. He may be temperamental, controversial, but we talk about it in the legal profession. Who can you find any better for do an inquisition than him. But they will ignore him. They will say he's strict, he's this. But those are the people we need. We need more Charles Maguires if we want to straighten out the system. We need more Charles Maguire who calls white, white, who calls blue, blue, who calls black, black. In order for begin things say, oh, well, I wonder what me, SFPP people and good thing. I wonder, we need people of characters, people of integrity. So this is one thing we are lacking. We are not even searching for people with such reputation and integrity. It's almost like we don't want them. They don't fall into the category of the people that we want. The 1991 Constitution we would struggle with, we don't have to consistently struggle with it because there are so many things wrong. A responsible president, and this goes for Anes and Mada, both of them, will have grabbed the bull by the horn way back with respect to the constant complaining about how the Constitution is so lopsided that it's creating more confusion than solution. So my point simply is we need somebody of integrity. We have them in our midst back home. We have them abroad. But we are not looking for those characters. We are pretending that we want to solve problems. But these are not unsolvable problems. They can be solved. But a lot of times, then committee there are too. My understanding, and Mr. Mengot, you know a whole lot more than I do. When you serve on them, it's not for free. So people look out for each other. You see, people are not looking out for the most capable. It's like you rub me back, I rub you back. All this is the cause of the country. And then we want a positive outcome. That is not going to happen. It's like a disease.
We have a caller on the line because we're going towards the end of the program. We'll get 15 minutes more. So we'll get a caller where we can take now and hear what you want.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Who's you to call from?
Yeah, Mr. Shivon, this is Abdul again.
All right, Abdul, welcome back.
Yeah, I just want buttress with you to talk this about the Constitution. And you are, I think, quite vividly, you mentioned incidental beneficiary, the current president benefit from. When you go call constitutional largesse, now the time that when we go coin as a constitutional largesse, now the president and the benefit from. And you mentioned, say, unless they take the bull by the horn, anyone will assume office, take the bull by the horn, and make the necessary changes here before we go see any headway. And with regard, like it's just the example where you make mention of the census. Like we're not missing any easy way for the census for the 5 years. Because when there is a lacuna in any law, just lacuna lawyers, Mr. Shilo, you know that. When you argue a case for your client, you defend somebody, you defend lacuna in the prosecution in your own case. Now you look for. So now the lacuna in the prosecution in case, now you hammer on for let the court go vindicate you client. And it just reminds me of when when they talk about Jiga Ebon. I'm not saying Mr. Mengotin go know about that. Mr. Shilong go know about that. They say Jiga Ebon, they give the name Jiga Ebon because he always said loophole in the prosecution in your case. When you see all that loophole, that side, now it's just a press on say for let the court to vindicate in client. But if you say I don't say for move forward now with democratic multi-party elections they hold all over the years. If we don't they move forward, because the more we are the older elections here, the more una they transform democratically. So as time they goes on, because Ghana, Rwanda, look Rwanda we don't relate. Then they always they transform small, but Rwanda develop their own system not perfect because they don't get time limits. But at least we copy from Ghana, we copy from South Africa, we copy from Kenya. Then 3 countries, then we copy from them system. Lots waiting at the good thing where then they do, where they make them. Democracy not perfect, no sign at the world. We said where they are US here, we not say not perfect. But the good aspect of we neighbors in Africa, the thing that when they do when they make the democracy they progress. I think another same thing in the we say for copy, we go make them with democracy. We're not waiting for perfect time because as we go on, there are transformation where we go to see, we go to say, no transform, I'm not making this way either. Because even in the US, the constitution when in 1789 it came into being, we don't say they get beaucoup amendments where you get over 20 something amendments where you get. So, but with time, with the amendments, small, with the amend, decide we're not perfect, we fine tune them. The time because you define anything for me it doesn't like when you drop a curriculum. If you drop a curriculum 50 years ago, that same curriculum they know will fit for the next 20 years as in the education field. You they draw them for meet the demands of the current society. I think then so we leaders therefore try for do if we really want to make a headway in this with democratic process as so far.
Thank you so much. I get another call.
I think Mr. Sheila, let's take one more call. Let's take this caller because, yeah.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Where's the call from?
Hello.
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 Yeah.
Yes, this is Muhammad Ali. I call from the United States of America, Maryland.
Okay, sir. Welcome.
Yes, sir. I feel say we love them as a need for the visit because when you look, one of the reasons then are the TRC reports when they bring about the war in Sierra Leone is hinged on bad laws. So we need to revisit the 1991 Constitution, and I'm glad where President Bio don't begin to touch some of them, like the 1965 Public Order Act.
Yeah.
Although there are conditions the way they be need for also tackle them. Then also one of the system them. What I feel say, now in the kill we as a nation, we Sierra Leone as a nation, is based on the fact that the system of patronage, patrimonial, and clientele politics, that patron-client politics, from time immemorial, since we gained independence 1961, to present, now that same system there. And we need for killer system then if we want to go before. We need to get the right man at the right place. Where they get the bull by the horn. Call things by their names. Those are the type of people that we need. Not of people where they will bend the law for favor them. And if you watch both APC and SLPP, they have been using that as an instrument for get on in the stronghold. They forget say Sierra Leone is above party level. Sierra Leone first, then party level comes second. But what we see is quite the opposite. We more or less see party over country. We make we very, 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 very sorry. Then also another system what will say we need for revisit Because instead, therefore, do along with the constitution, when are corruption. Corruption are one of the things that we say the party people, then they use them as an instrument because when someone go thief, they hide them in party for safety. Because I make me the shame amount. So now that system than the way we need for tackle.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I think one more
all right,
last
thank
caller.
you so much for calling.
And then we'll
Hello,
get
caller. What's your name?
one more last caller, then we can get 5 minutes for roundup. We still have that caller on the line?
Supposed to. Hello, caller.
Do we still have the caller on the line?
I think we lost the caller. I think we lost him or her.
Okay. Well, Mr. Shillon, we get 5 more minutes so you can give you round up on all these legal reforms and some of them here. Then Mr. go give
some of the legal reforms very briefly. It sounds good for say Chief Justice to appoint 27 people and this and that. First of all, I want to be able to determine if a listing was submitted to him as to who they want to be these judges. 2, does he have the power to disagree with the executive? And 3, it's a ridiculous caller is back. The caller is back.
I think the caller will come back. You know, this man this last minute.
Yeah, but let me just make this.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous we get to be serious or we're not serious. Either we, but you cannot have the president as head of the judiciary and we expect a different result. Let me go back to the caller. Hello, caller. What's your name? Who's you call from?
Yes, hello?
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 Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. We hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And, it is just my own opinion. I'm a concerned citizen and I live in the USA. I've been observing and I see there's a lot of things that is responsible for what we are facing now. Sadly, the problem started during Anes by Koroma. Tijan Kaba laid the foundation, built the institution. Even he went to the extent of, planning the Constitutional Review Committee. And in fact, when Anes came, they released the money. So Cowan did everything that he could, because we should not inherit this type of man or this type of brutal man called himself Dio if they have gone through that constitution. Because the constitution, there's a provision in the constitution which states that, the president, there should be a neutral somebody that will conduct the affair of any election after the sitting term of a president. At least, there will be within 3 or 4 weeks' time after the deadline, that person will take over, and so there will be a level playing field for everything. For instance, how could you expect in a constitution, how could you expect a lacuna of such, let's say, the Chief Justice, not the Chief Justice, the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice? Look at the conflict of interest. The Minister of Justice is liable to the President. The President is in the President's cabinet and he is in charge of interpreting the law. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. That was the reason why he was able to capture the judiciary. He was able to capture the judiciary. The power of the president is immense. They have to reduce that power, make sure that the Attorney General is a separate office, Minister of Justice is a separate office, and the Attorney General should be appointed or selected by a neutral body. There's a lot of things that was going. Anes Koroma find it very, very convenient with the type of bogus constitution he was playing with. His concentration was there just to make himself rich. I was I'm a neutralist, but I was very upset because all the gains that we had which Tijankaba shed blood with, which Tijankaba did all he could to substantiate and make sure that those institutions are strong. He passively neglects everything. His main focus, like what Mr. The last speaker was saying, the concentration was just a few people around him he was interested in, people that would say, yes to, yes sir, yes sir. There was no brilliant, no think tankers among him, around him by that particular time, So this is the reason why we are suffering today. And if not, we are going to continue suffering, like he said, they are going to continue. That constitution gave protection to any president. He gave serious protection, hire and fire. He hires and fire. He hires even the Chief Justice. So, and when it's state captured, you know what? When it's state captured, every institution is under the control of the president. Even right now, when we're in the election, he controls everything. He controls everything. There's no level playing ground. Let's be realistic. This is our country. We love that country. For people we are the most educated people in West Africa, because private college is because of most of the Nigerians and the Ghanaians who are intellectual today. But it's a shame and it's a living monument of disgrace to our society for us to be in this type of predicament. I'm a PhD holder. I have a problem master, but I can't venture to go Sierra Leone and speak truth there to power. I'll be killed, especially carrying the name of the former president. It's that, so gentlemen, we have to sit down and be serious and find out whosoever is coming there. The first thing we are going to do after him is to change that constitution. It has to be changed. It's a shame. It's a disgrace to us. This was the handwork of Shaka Stephen and his cohort Momo. Nobody changed the constitution. It was a one party, meant for a one party state. No dissent, no nothing. All the executive power was with him. So this is the reason why. So far, I'll stop there and listen to you guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your contribution. Yeah. Mr. Mengot, what say you?
Well, I think if you don't get anything for do, I can give me farewell message, because we don't hit the 2-hour mark. All I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, we people and fumble them. Yeah? Now we talk about reaching out to people. In Mende, we say Pebunyanga. Awanai. In Timini, we say Ambosho Bana. Na the two ande wasabiu. So I talk to me people indirectly now. This election, a very unique election. It's a trying time. It's similar to some of the time where we noticed the election, women are a young man. 1967 post-independence election. When are the same two people that will be get draw. When at that time we witnessed the first martial law and coffee order. We will know. So all I will say to me people then, let we patient. We don't vote in the election. The ECSL man don't tell we say they begin announce this. Let we know mago. Let we listen to what he get for say. And to the two big party them. Let we accept defeat graciously, or if we win, let we not come back with that same bagbati and bravado. Because if we continue that way there, Sierra Leone will burn. We want our people to stay safe. We are watching with bated breath. And when the results come out, I shall say we next program, we will go an analysis and continue some of them here. We don't talk about governance, constitutional review, the rule of law. We get plenty of work for do. And this year, we all come together and join. We can talk about Mama Salon, but we problem na Papa government. Because Papa government get beaucoup pikin.
We have to start appointing the right place.
Exactly. And at the Papa government, now they look after and picking them well. So with that talk, I go hand over to my co-host for himself in farewell remarks. And in all stay safe this week. Let God give you good leaders them. And this time, what we don't begin so, we will continue for all them into account. As far as you know, we are non-partisan. We are here to educate. We are here to listen to criticism. And we all want to work for Salon. So me, when they talk to you now, I they say tata.
Yeah. And not to add any more time, like I say, just now, why interrupt Mr. Mengo. One basic thing, what have become characteristic of we appointments them to committees, to boards of, board of directors, for banks and different places. We don't go for the best and the brightest. We get a small group within the country, so we have to start looking above and beyond the nucleus there. So that said, thank you for listening. We appreciate your time. Please tune in next week. Thank you.